Well, good morning. Welcome to Rooted and Relevant. And I trust that you had a great weekend. I am doing this morning's Rooted and Relevant on Proverbs 18:22. He that findeth a wife findeth a good thing. God says that marriage is a good thing, that marriage is something that God has designed and that he is the ultimate designer of what each person needs. He does call certain people to being single and to giving their life in service to the Lord with the freedoms that being single brings. But he also has designed marriage uh, for way more than just populating the world. It is the right pattern for populating the world, but marriage is so much more than that. It is the way God designed for certain individuals to be completed. In other words, he looked at Adam after everything that he created was very good. And he said, It is not good that man should be alone. He was not saying he made a mistake. He was not saying that he had missed something. He was not insinuating that something had just now come to his attention. And he was looking at Gabriel saying, Oh, no, man is lonely. No. What he was saying is that everything he created was very good. And the next thing he was going to create was going to be necessary because it is not good that man should be alone. In other words, this was part of his progressive creation in what he was going to do in the timely manner. There is an important succession in the order in which he created the world. He created the grass, the trees, the herb yielding fruit, vegetables, all of those things before he created the sun, moon, and stars. Why? Because it reminds us of a 24-hour day. It refutes any idea of evolution. It would have been impossible. All of this vegetation would have died. But because of how God created it and the order in which he created it, it signifies that there is something very important to see in the order. And so when he created man and the animals and all of the rest of creation and said, It is very good, it was. It was perfect. It was exactly what God designed. And it was equally part of God's design when he said, Now man needs somebody to complete him. He is incomplete. The word help me means completer, not completer, completer. And so God in his infinite wisdom has designed that the bulwark of society, the very hub that drives a society, would be marriage between a man and a woman. He made a woman for the man and said, This will complete him. Any other attempt to find completion in any other form is to do battle with God's design. It's to challenge what God knows with what humans know. It's to say, I have something better or I have improved. No, we can't come up with anything better, and we cannot improve what God has designed. And so what we do is we embrace it. And Proverbs 18:22 reminds us that when we find a wife, this is a very good thing. My wife and I celebrated 34 years of marriage yesterday. And it was a wonderful reminder that two things. One, God's design is incredibly magnificent. It also reminded us time goes by so fast. It's hard to believe that 34 years of marriage is already behind us. But we could look at what our life has been in those 34 years and said, only God could have come up with something so magnificent. Only God could have come up with something so marvelous. And so when we embrace what God has done, by the way, it's not saying that man doesn't complete woman, because he does, because when you have a puzzle and two pieces come together to complete, you need both. One by itself is not going to complete the picture. It's going to take both. And that is exactly what the picture of marriage is. And that picture of the bond that is formed is like that of plywood, that is not just granularly put together. In other words, the wood is put together in a fashion, but then the glue that surrounds it makes it incredibly difficult to break it. In fact, if you've ever tried to break plywood, usually what happens is it splinters. It doesn't just have a clean break. Well, that is what happens when man and woman try to destroy the bond that God has given. Is it's ugly and it splinters, and it's really, really bad, and oftentimes very painful. And it gives to us this idea that this bond is designed by God to be permanent until death do us part. It is designed for while we're here on this earth, and it is a picture of what God has in love for the church. It pictures for us God's love, and the climax of all relationships is the marriage relationship. And so when we step back and we look at this verse and we look at God's marvelous design in marriage, we have to come to the conclusion that God is brilliant. And this relationship is so amazing because of how God intended for it to function and what he intended for it to accomplish. And when a man and a woman are able to experience that, it is a good thing. And I would say amen to that. So I hope you have a great day. I look forward to spending some time with you this week. I hope that you get a chance to share Jesus with somebody today, and that you buy up every opportunity to do so. God bless you. I'll see you again tomorrow.